Hey guys, Allie here. I'm going to be showing you how to make my now famous and apparently very well loved and requested for broccoli cheddar soup from scratch. I'm going to go through everything that you need as far as ingredients goes, and even some of the secret ingredients that I've been putting in just to up my game with it a little bit. This has become a very popular dish for me to make for, friends, my neighbors, and my kids. It's a lot of people love this, so let's get started. So you're gonna need a decent sized pot for this because it's going to be a lot. You're going to be making a lot. I come from a family where we tend to cook larger meals and have enough to spread around and have plenty of leftovers, so you're going to need a decent sized pot for this. You are going to need veggie broth. You can get any kind of veggie broth. This is the Great Value one, whatever works well for you guys. Whatever you can afford. I either go with this or like the College Inn, or if the Progresso, like my top three that I use. But you're going to be using vegetable broth. This is going to be going in the roux, so I'll get to how much we use and stuff like that as I go step by step. All-purpose flour for the roux. I use 3/4 a stick of butter, and I like it when it's a little bit more softened, and I will explain why once I start really getting into it. Normally I use a 3-cheese cheddar mix. I prefer the finely shredded because it melts down a lot quicker and it also gives a better taste, but this is what we're working with today. So the mild cheddar, it has to be the finely shredded. Like, just trust me. And shredded carrots. This is a 10-ounce bag. I will be using this entire bag in my soup today. You can get them like Walmart brand, stuff like that. Like, this is, under $2 for a 10-ounce bag of shredded carrots. And you can either put the whole one in, you can either put the whole bag in there like I'm going to do today, or you can, per your preference, how much you want to use. So, and of course, you got to have your broccoli. Now, there are 2 different ways that I make this with the broccoli. You can either get florets that are like this. I use frozen broccoli, and I let it cook it in the soup because it makes it a lot more tender that way. But you can also get the finely chopped florets. This is all I have at my disposal today, so we're going to be working with this. You can also, pre-cook these and take off the stalks and cook them, break them down a little bit if you prefer, more of a broken down broccoli floret in your soup. But this is what I'm working with today, and it's still going to turn out good because I've done this before and it's loved by a lot of people. So now there's that. Whole milk. Guys, whole milk is going to be your lifesaver when it comes to the cheese melting down into it. It's going to provide a lot creamier of a taste to it. My kids only drink 1%. I'm more of a whole milk person, excuse me. But when I cook, I use a lot of the whole milk just because of the extra fat that's rendered in it, and it brings out a creamier taste. So there's that. And as we go, I'm going to introduce you to the seasonings that I use during this process to make it as really amazing and as sought after as it is right now. So let's get started. For your roux, you're going to take your butter, turn your stove on to high heat. Now I have a gas stove, so for me it's a lot easier to gauge just how much heat I'm getting. But since I already have this and it's already melted down enough, it's gonna make the whisking of the roux process a lot easier. So I'm just gonna put that in there. I'm going to let that melt down just a little bit. Meanwhile, I'm going to take your all-purpose flour. I use half a cup. Now guys, your roux will make or break any cream-based meal that you're gonna make. Like it took me forever to master my roux for my baked mac and cheese that I make frequently. So it's all about trial and error. But so I use about half a cup, and I put that right in there with the butter, and now I'm going to just whisk that up. Now the whisk, you guys, the whisk will be your best friend during this entire freaking process. So just soften that down a little bit. You guys really can't see what I'm doing, and I apologize for the mess in my kitchen, but I've been cooking a lot lately, so. But like I said, guys, the roux will make or break your soup. It's going to be the thing that keeps that solidified consistency with your soup. Now we're gonna go in with the broccoli. I'm sorry, the veggie broth right now. This for me is eyeballing. I eyeball just about how much. I usually use about a cup, maybe a cup and a half for the vegetable broth, and that seems to be working out very well. So put that in. So I used about a cup and a half, about that. And whisk. Whisk your heart out until the chunks of the flour from the roux are completely dissipated. So, let's see. I've never filmed me cooking before, guys, so just bear with me. But, yeah, so you're going to want to whisk this until it's not so chunky, until the flour is completely blended out. And then you're gonna add your chopped onion. I'm not sure if I mentioned the fact that I've got a yellow chopped onion, but that's completely up to you as to whether or not you want to add that. I use that because it gives it a little bit of texture, gives a little bit of a crunch, and it gives it a little bit of flavor. Now, this is how my roux is looking right now. That's just with adding the vegetable broth. Now, I'm going to be going in next with my chopped onion. I'm going to throw that in there before I throw the milk in there, because it's easier and it tastes better when the onions are sweated down and caramelized a little bit. And then you add your milk. And whisk the hell out of it. You are going to whisk this until all the flour has melted down. Like I said, the roux is what's going to make or break you with any meal, any like soup-based meal, any like mac and cheese type meal that you're going to have to make a roux for. Like, you know, it's going to make or break you. So I have very small kitchen space, so I'm going to be reaching around for a lot, guys. Next, add your cheese. Add your cheese. I go by handful, so it's easier for me to gauge. I usually use just like the full bag, the full 2-cup bag. But depending on how much milk I have in my roux, it's going to take a little bit long. You know, it's really all going to depend on the consistency of it as to how long it's going to take for the cheese to settle and melt. But whisk, 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 whisk. This is going to be your workout for the day, your arm workout for the day. It's also going to be, you know, what you're going to be doing quite frequently to get the consistency that you want it. So now I'm going to add some broccoli, and it should look a little creamy right now. It should look, you know, white and creamy. It's going to take a little bit for that cheese to settle in and to break down and melt. But trust me, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. So give it a stir, just so that way all of the broccoli is submerged into the soup and it's becoming a nice consistency. Like, it's okay to have like this natural kind of like little cheese pull going on off the whisk. Ingredients that you may have thought of using in a broccoli cheddar soup, but you may not have. So I like to experiment with my foods when I'm cooking. I love the creativity of it. So we're gonna add about 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika. And I know everyone's thinking like, oh my god, you know, smoked paprika, like it actually gives it a nice like earthy taste to it. And the juggernauts that are going to take this from a simple broccoli cheddar soup to something that you're going to make over and over and over again just because it tastes that good. Danos seasoning, guys. Danos seasoning. This is the seasoning, and I'm also going to be using the Danos chipotle. Now, this one will give it a nice, like, extra cheesy taste to it, but it's also going to kind of offset the kick of the paprika. And there's like 4 to 5 different kinds of cheeses in that one particular seasoning. If you guys don't have Danos seasonings, go get them. And I'm going to be adding now a couple of tablespoons of the chipotle. And then you're going to whisk. You're going to whisk, and you're going to whisk, and you're going to whisk. You're going to let all those flavors soak in and melt together to the point where you've got a nice, thick consistency. Now, whisk and whisk and whisk. That's it. Like, that's really all you need to do is whisk your life away. Add your carrots. I'm not going to do actually as much this time. Just enough to give it that little oomph. And, you know, obviously it's expected to have carrots in a broccoli cheddar soup, so there's that. Secret ingredient time, guys. Amp up the cheese. Shredded Parmesan and Romano. Eyeball it. I do like a 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup of each. Just a little dab will do ya. And there's one more thing. One more thing that you guys would never expect to add to a broccoli cheddar soup. I don't have anything to add any of it left right now, but 2 scoops of Galbani ricotta cheese. Throw that in the soup. Just throw it in there and let it melt down. Just whisk it until it's completely melted. Now, I actually have to add a little bit more milk to mine today, but it's still looking amazing, just so I can get the consistency going to where I want it to be. But by adding this you get a really thick, salty, yet super creamy texture that you're going to add to your soup. Like, it's going to be amazing adding this to your soup. Now, take like, you know, one to two large spoonfuls, like about this size, 1 to 2, plop them in there, let them melt down, whisk the hell out of it. You'll never make your soup ever again the same way. And this is what you should have looking right now. I have to add a little bit more milk to mine to get it to be the consistency that I want it, but whisk, whisk, whisk. And after you've got it to the consistency that you want, turn it on low heat or off, and then let it like simmer and set for roughly about 35 to 40 minutes. Sometimes if you want to do it longer, you can, just to let it settle and stuff, but go back every like 15 minutes and whisk it so that way the top doesn't have a crust on it. Because, you know, the milk is going to congeal, the cheeses are going to congeal, and you're going to get that funky kind of like glaze over it, so to speak. Like, and then, you know, so just go back and continuously whisk that. Let it set for about an hour. And then, you know, when you're ready to eat it, turn it on, you know, medium heat. Whisk it often. When it's to the consistency that you want it to be, ready to serve. And I normally serve mine with like, you know, like crackers like saltines or something like that. But believe it or not, to make it kid friendly, put Cheez-Its on top of it. You'll thank me later. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been a really good tutorial. If you guys want more tutorials on the fan favorites that I make, since I love to cook, and you know, I've got a lot of recipes to share, I have no problem doing that. Just let me know. Have a good day, guys, and I hope you enjoy my masterpiece.